What is going on, guys? Johnny here, back with another video. Recently, I've been getting a lot of comments regarding one of my previous videos where I talked about my experience working two remote jobs. So tonight, I decided to do a quick Q&A video answering some of your questions, all right? So let's get started. First question. I was asked if either company knows that I'm working the two jobs. The answer to that is yes. And it wasn't actually by intent. To be honest, I wasn't planning on letting either company know, but it so happened that during the interview for the second job, I was asked the typical question on when's the earliest that I could start, and when I gave my date, the company told me it didn't work for them, and I told them, okay, so I have a prior engagement, aka my first job, and they actually suggested, or not suggested, but they asked if it was possible for me to do both at the same time, because they were in urgent need of filling that position. And of course I said yes immediately, and I told them that I would make it work. I would handle any schedule rearrangements I would have to make, but that I would take care of it. That was on me. If the quality of work is not up to par, then they can evaluate my performance and decide if they want to continue the business relationship or not. But yes, they do know. And initially, like most of the guys who asked me this question, I was kind of hesitant. I thought this was something that was very taboo, that you shouldn't be doing. But I learned that it's really pretty common. I mean, if you think about it, these are salary positions, by the way, but when people are broke, frankly, and they're working for minimum wage, it's pretty common to have 2 or even 3 minimum wage jobs, and nothing's wrong with that. So really, what's the difference if it's a remote position or a salary position or whatever? As long as you're getting your work done in a timely manner and with good quality, it really isn't an issue if companies know or not what else are you doing, as long as the work's getting done. Some companies don't like it, others don't care, others don't mind, but you have to take shots and see what happens. All right, second question is, what type of work did I do? I think I've mentioned this before in some of my videos, but I work as a software engineer. So most of what I do is software development, which already in of itself is a very, at least in my experience so far, very individual in nature. Like I get assigned tickets, and apart from the stand-ups, I work on my own on whatever it is that I have to do. So that gave me, I'm gonna be honest, that gave me a bit of an advantage in allowing me to rearrange my schedule such that I had no meeting conflicts. And another thing is that my jobs weren't in the same time zone. Some of the clients I had on my first job, they were in India or Taiwan, and the time difference is 10 plus hours, which even if I had to work a few hours during the night, I could get all my work done without having too much of a schedule conflict. But even if you're not a software developer, this is something that's very possible in other industries. I have plenty of friends who work in finance who do tax consulting or auditing, and they work multiple remote positions. Same with people who work in marketing, like digital marketing agencies. They have multiple clients for multiple employees, and as long as the client is happy, then essentially that should be the goal. I'm very pragmatic. I don't look at time work. As long as everyone's happy with the quality of work that you're putting in, and your deadlines are being met, and the client is happy, and money's being made, then don't worry about it. So on the topic of schedule conflicts, I was asked what were ways that you could potentially avoid schedule conflicts. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that I did. First off, if you have a lot of one-on-one meetings, whether it's with a manager or with a client or whoever it might be, I encourage you to talk to that person and try to reschedule the meeting time for your one-on-one. Why do it this way? Because it's way easier to get one person to agree to move the scheduled time than it is to say move a staff meeting of 12 people just because it conflicts with your personal schedule. Another thing you can do is take the job with the most meetings and mark all the meetings that don't require your input and try to cancel or excuse yourself from as many of them as possible. Let's be honest, in most meetings, or at least in my experience, I'm just there, but I don't even have, it's not a project I'm working on, and chances are, unless you're a project manager, a tech lead, or you have an executive position in the company, most of the time you're not really going to be that involved. So if there's a chance that you can reschedule that or cancel it altogether, I would encourage you to pursue that. Remember, you're not obligated to take every meeting. You can say no. That is an option. I struggle with this at first too, but I want everyone to understand that is an option, because you're working for an entity, and because the entity sees value, is extracting value from you. Hence, you have value, which means you can make demands. Now, not everyone has the same value, because some people have a more developed skill set than others, or are working in more key positions than others. You have to assess your situation and see how much you can request without overextending yourself, if you know what I mean. But definitely keep that in mind. It's always an option. It never hurts to ask. Just see what happens. The less details you give, if it's going to be through email, usually since it's remote, the less details you give, the better. Just simply say like, I have a previous appointment and I can't make this time. I have a schedule conflict. Can we do so and so? Provide an alternative. That usually works. And just cancel it and move it. Don't overthink it. So I also got a lot of people basically commenting that they're thinking or contemplating searching or getting a second job, and I told everyone pretty much the same thing, which was to go ahead and do it. Why? It's because, in my opinion, I believe the pros far outweigh the cons. Now, I'm not here to debate the morality of getting two jobs or whatever, like I said, but look at it this way. Worst case, you already have a job. You have nothing to lose. Worst case, you stay exactly the way you are with the job. If you get a second job, you're gonna get an extra salary. You're probably gonna break up your routine, be exposed to it. If it's in a different position, you'll get to see different areas of your industry or another industry, and you'll get a better chance to develop your skill set. Worst case is that you just keep your own job. You've already have the baseline. Take a risk. Don't be afraid to give it a try, even if it's just for a short period of time, 3 months, 6 months, or whatever. So to close off, I want to go over a few general tips on how to approach looking for a second job, or if you're already working, got a second job, a few mindset shifts you could make. And so the first one is I'm going to emphasize this again, not be afraid to ask. Remember, like I said, you have value. You can start making a little bit more demands. And especially if you already secured your second job, I would encourage you to be a little more assertive whenever you're asking for something. Because let's be completely pragmatic. Worst case, you get fired from one job. You still have your original job, or you still have the other job. You can't be afraid of losing your job. Even if you had just the one, it's a terrible way to go about it. Second tip is that when you're about to start the second job, that's another opportunity for you to establish boundaries, and within those boundaries is where I encourage you to make it clear what your schedule is going to be, what are your expectations, and that's when you set the tone on what you're going to allow your new job to demand time-wise of you. Meaning, if they start dragging you into meetings and you don't say no, then it's going to be harder to cancel those meetings halfway after a couple weeks. And if at the very beginning you go ahead and say, hey, this hour really doesn't work for me for so and so reason, is it better if we schedule it for this hour? that you're not going to get a second chance to establish those boundaries. This next one is really important, and I want you to engrave this in your mind, body, and soul. And is that you have to do what's best for you. Your job is not your wife. Your job is not your husband. You know, there's no emotional attachment or emotional responsibility that you owe to your job. You have to do what's best for you, because if you don't do what's best for you, no one else is going to do what's best for you. This is something I commonly preach in my channel. I'm not here to debate the morality of whether you agree or disagree about working two jobs. I don't care about that. Just remember, if you are doing quality work, if you are meeting deadlines, you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, doesn't matter if it takes you 10 hours or 1 hour, and everyone's happy, the clients are happy, company's happy, everyone, you're making money, they're making money, don't stress about it. Remember, you have value. Don't forget that. The last tip would be is if you're single, probably I recommend you look for a job that's in a different time zone than yours, especially if you have inconsistent schedule or sleeping patterns, because it's an interesting experience. I actually enjoyed it a lot. When I work with the overseas clients, most of the hours I had to work was during the night, like 7 p.m. and onward. But during the day, I was free. And during the week, everyone's at their job 9 to 5. So whatever it is that I wanted to do, if I wanted to go out, go out to eat or go shopping or whatever, places were empty, and I enjoyed that. I don't know, it was a very different experience. Just reminding myself that everyone's at their job, and you could actually enjoy certain things without everyone being, places being too crowded and things like that. Just something to consider. I don't know. I like that a lot. Anyways, that's all I had for you today. If you have any more questions, please leave them below in the comments. And if there's enough, I will make a part 2 on this. And if not, I hope you found some value in this. Like always, thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe. That really helps out the channel. And I will see you in the next one.